Yep. Okay. All right. So for our warm up, before we do the quiz, okay, I have 10 occupations on the board. We have 5 over on this side and 5 on this third column. In the middle, I have some of the comparison structures that we've been working with. What I want you to do on your paper is make a comparison between the 2 occupations that I have listed. So I have gossip columnist more than police officer, firefighter as dentist, actress better than politician, businessman less than taxi driver, professor as cashier. Okay, so think about when we were practicing with the comparisons, we had the nouns, we had the verbs, we had the adjectives, and the past participles. Exactly, Miriam. So try to use any of those, but use these 2 jobs and this structure. Okay, so you should have 5 sentences on your paper. All right, so go ahead individually, write 5 sentences on your paper using these words here. Gali.
What is a gossip columnist?
Hey, so Gali wasn't here last time. Do you guys remember what a gossip columnist is? Khadija, what is it?
Someone who write in newspaper. Some news about celebrity.
Private life, about famous people.
Yeah, right? They're the ones in the newspaper or maybe even on blogs now that write about politicians, celebrities, famous people, and they gossip about them, right? Like, ooh, Tom Cruise is coming out with a new movie and maybe a new love. You know, and then you read about it, right? So that's a gossip columnist, Holly. Okay? Is there any other occupations that you don't recognize? These are
You have to compare a gossip columnist with the
police officer. And then you compare firefighter with dentist, actress with politician, businessman with taxi driver, professor with cashier.
Cashier.
Do you guys remember? You said, do you remember?
In bed.
Me.
Who is working
I see.
I can count mine.
Yeah, so when you go to the store, like let's say you go to H&M over in Carnegie, yeah, you go and you pay for your items. That's the person who handles the money in the store, the cashier. Sit there or there. I know it's really cold out tonight, so if we need to, we can open the window to let in a little bit of air. But right now, I just have it closed because it's so cold. So what we're doing is we have different occupations in those comparison structures. So you're comparing gossip columnist to police officer using more than. So you're going to write 5 sentences. 5 sentences. Okay, so this is a really important thing to note. Remember when we talked about those gerund phrases as subjects or objects? When you're comparing these jobs with each other, you want to say Being a, right? So you can say being a gossip columnist, or what's the other way that you can do it?
Working as.
Working as?
Gossip columnist.
Or like object.
Like,
I would love being a firefighter or something.
You can also,
Gossip columnist.
yeah.
Columnist.
but you need a plural, right? Yeah, so you can either say being a gossip columnist or gossip columnists make more. So you can either have it as a plural without the gerund phrase, or you can have it as singular with the gerund phrase. Okay?
Or we could add a verb.
Huh?
We could add a verb,
Which one?
like the synonym firefighter, or work as much as a dentist.
Firefighters.
Work as much as a dentist.
That's what I was saying. You can use a noun in there. You can use a verb. Yeah, because you haven't been here the past couple of weeks, so we were practicing with this. You can use verb like firefighters. I would say work as much as a dentist, right? Or you can say firefighters are. What's another one? Which one did you put down?
The one I told you.
The one you told me? They just work. Okay. Work as much as. Okay. So like, how would you change that for firefighter? Firefighters are
Stressful.
okay, so for this one, as since it's an adjective, we would need the being. Being a firefighter is as stressful as being a dentist. Yeah, so that's what we're just saying. If you use the plural, you would need to change the verb to fit. Subject verb are. Businessmen are what? Less what? Oh, work less hours. Businessmen work, which one? Less hours than taxi drivers. How would you say businessmen work? Just the verb. You do. Sorry, I didn't know. Go away. A firefighter as many work hours. We change it to many because hours is a countable now. So you would say as many. But for example, if we said like money, that's a non-countable, so you would say much. So he earns as much money as a dentist. Okay, so take a minute to finish. Minute to win it, minute to win it. Okay. All right. So I'd like you to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, 11. All right. So what I'm gonna do is with your partner, compare your sentences together. Okay. Check each other's structures. Everyone, open your book up to page 11. Open your book up to page 11. This has those 4 comparison categories with the adjectives, nouns, verbs, and past participles. So what I want you to do is with your partner, review your sentences together and compare them to the structures in the book, all right? Because if you used a verb, it might be a little different than if you used an adjective, okay? So I want to make sure that you're using them correctly depending on what you chose, noun, verb, past participle, or adjective. All right, so if you can have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and Miriam, I'll look at yours, okay? So I'll work with you on yours. All right, so we'll work with your partner to compare. Oops, sorry. Do we move it over? Yeah, yeah. You're welcome. Okay. So let me see what you have. Okay, is more fun. Funny is the adjective. Fun is the noun. See, have more fun. Yeah, so we would say, well, it's a little bit different because hard and harder is still an adjective, right? Fun is an adjective, and funny is an adjective, but it's different. Funny we use to describe like a person in a situation, like, oh, she's really funny, she makes me laugh. But fun is also a noun. So this right here is more fun than a police officer. This is like the situation, right? The job is yeah, good. Work is not just a business, good. Yeah, let's check here, because we have work as much as, that's your verb. Work as much as, good. Okay, so is better paid, is better paid. Good, so structure's correct. Just remember, I showed you there, being or, yes, being actress is better than so you need being and being. Because this is your subject. Being an actress is better than when you job. Well, it doesn't mean you have to. Like, it's not a rule. What it is that you're using this as a subject phrase and you're using it as an object phrase as well. So being an actress is better paid than being a politician. We get taxi drivers, plural, yeah. Okay, so we're not having much. Just as yeah. So when you're using the adjective, you can have is as wonderful, is as wonderful, this is hard. Yeah, you can still use it as a subject. So sometimes like there are certain phrases that you use that might be a little more So like businessmen have more education, right? Businessmen have more education than that's a little more natural, just businessmen have. Yeah, but you can say being a businessman, you can say it, but it's just not as common. Or it's not as natural. Alright, did you guys finish checking? Yes? Okay, so let me hear some of these sentences that you created because I want to make sure that everyone is clear on these structures because I know when you read them, they're very easy, but then when you create them, it's like, oh, it's all those little words sometimes that you forget, right? So let me hear, Golly, which one did you have for the first one? First one.
Gossip columnists
Uh-huh.
work more than a police officer.
Okay, gossip columnists work more than police officers. Good. So you had plural. Gossip columnists work more than police officers. So he used it with a verb. Did anyone use something different, like with an adjective or a noun?
Yes.
Okay, what did you say, Sarah?
More interesting than.
Okay, so say the
Yeah.
full sentence. Gossip columnists.
It's more interesting than working as a police officer.
Okay, good. Working as a gossip columnist is more interesting than working as a police officer. Good. Salma, did you have something different?
No,
Same.
same.
Did anyone have anything different for that one? Yusuf.
Gossip columnists makes more money than police official.
Okay, so you can say a gossip columnist makes more money than a police officer. Gossip columnists make more money than police officers. Being a gossip columnist makes more money than being a police officer. So there are many different options, but just remember that you want to have a mirror structure, okay? So if you say being, I want you to have being. If you use plural, I want you to use plural, okay? So you want to make sure that the beginning of your sentence is the same as the ending. So that's what I'm saying. We use the gerund phrase as the subject, use the gerund phrase as the object. Have a plural subject, plural object, okay? All right, what about number 2, firefighter with the dentist?
A firefighter is as stressful as dentist.
Okay, so being a firefighter is as stressful as being a dentist. Did anyone have anything different with as? Chifa?
Firefighters aren't as well paid as dentists.
Good. The past participle. Firefighters, plural, aren't as well paid as dentists, plural. Okay, anyone have anything else?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yusuf.
Being a firefighter is interesting as much as
Dentist.
Say it again. That was a lot of words together. Being a firefighter.
Firefighter is interesting as much as being a dentist.
You don't need the much. All you need is the as adjective as. So you just say being a firefighter is as interesting as being a dentist. So you don't need that much in there. All right, and Salma, did you have one?
Yes. Firefighters are as well trained as dentists.
Good. Firefighters, plural, are as well trained as dentists, plural. What about number 3, actresses and politicians? Hamza.
An actress has better reputation than politician.
Ooh, I like that. An actress has a better reputation than a politician. That's an interesting one. Anyone have anything different, Kali?
Being an actress is better than a politician.
Being an actress is better than being a politician. Just straight up, it's better than, right? Did anyone have anything else? Brett?
An actress has better hours than a politician.
Okay, an actress has better hours than a politician. Good. Businessman and taxi driver. What do we have? Sorry?
Being a businessman is less dangerous than being a taxi driver.
Being a businessman is less dangerous than being a taxi driver.
Can we make negative form?
Okay, try it.
Being a businessman is not less stressful than being a taxi driver.
is not less stressful than being a taxi driver? Technically, yes. It's just a very strange sentence for like if you're speaking. If you wanted to say, because you said being a businessman is not less stressful than being a taxi driver. So which one is more stressful?
Business.
Businessman.
No,
Taxi driver
Yeah.
is not less stressful. See, it's kind of a
Obviously,
confusing.
Yeah,
It just
order.
yeah, it makes sense grammatically. It's just kind of a confusing sentence. So I would change it to first of all, which one is more stressful? Taxi driver or businessman?
Taxi driver.
Okay, so if it was a taxi driver, then you would say
Easy.
being a businessman is less stressful than being a taxi driver, right? But what if it's the same stress? How would you say it? As, right? So being a businessman is as stressful as being a taxi driver. Yeah. When you start using the negative in the comparisons, it can get a little confusing. That's why we go to the as structure, right? Not as or anything. Okay. And then professor and cashier. What do we have? Last one. Who have I not heard from? Salma?
Professors work as much as cashiers.
Good. Professors, plural, work as much as cashiers. Anyone else? Kanisha, you have one?
Professors earns as worse as cashiers.
Earns
As worse.
earns less.
As less.
So they earn
Less.
professors earn
Less than.
less
Than.
than cashiers. Okay, so we would want to use the less than structure with that. If they earn less, how could we use that with the as?
What? Can you repeat?
Yeah, so okay.
Isn't we use the negative.
Right. So she said professors earn less than cashiers. Okay. So how would we use the as structure to have the same meaning as the sentence?
Don't earn.
The cashier
Doesn't.
isn't
Don't.
Don't.
What Gali and Salma said, professors
much
don't earn
as
as
much
much
as.
as. Yeah, so professors, you would have to go with the negative. Don't earn as much as cashiers. Okay? So that's why with these comparisons,
teacher don't or doesn't.
professors don't. Professors don't. Plural. Prefer. Yeah. Okay. Do you have a question, Hamza?
We can say professors aren't as hard as cashiers.
Being a professor
Yes.
isn't
not
as hard.
as cashiers.
Yeah, so that one you would have to use the gerund phrase to be a professor, right? It's the act of being a professor. Being a professor isn't as hard as being a cashier. Okay, Kali?
Being a professor is as boring as being a cashier.
Isn't as boring as being a cashier, or is?
Boring.
Is it, so both are boring, right? So you're like, being a professor is as boring as being a cashier. I don't like either job. They're both boring. Good. All right. What if I gave you this sentence? How would you fill it in? How would you finish the sentence? A dentist isn't blank as a doctor.
Stressful.
Say whole sentence.
A dentist isn't stressful as a doctor.
So again, if you're using that adjective, like it isn't as hard or it isn't as boring, you would need the being. So we just have a dentist isn't.
We need
Being a dentist isn't as stressful as a doctor.
As.
Okay.
As a doctor.
We need another as.
Yeah, so you need a as, isn't as,
As
and then what would we put here? A dentist isn't as,
As
like,
Stressful,
Well-being.
difficult.
there we go. So this one you would use
isn't as well paid as.
isn't as
Yeah.
well paid. Because I don't want to change this beginning. We're keeping this, right? A dentist isn't as well paid as a doctor.
But when we say being a dentist, you have to finish this.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is if you were writing your own sentence, you would need to mirror, right? Being and being, all right? But in the quiz, you're going to have just blanks, and you have to use the structure to fill it in. So you can't change the rest of the sentence. You have to match the rest of the sentence. Okay. So does anyone have any more questions before we take the quiz?
No.
No? You said you're ready?
Yeah.
You're ready to go? You're like, let's just do it. Let's just get it done. Salma.
And with nouns,
Yeah.
we can at last isn't as much work as.
Mm-hmm.
We can say has as much work as.
Yeah, it depends on what you're saying. So, like, what would be an example? A assistant doesn't have as much work as the doctor, right? So if you're comparing the jobs, so you doesn't have as much work or isn't as much work. Either one can work in that situation. All right, here we go. So everyone take your books. Yeah, sorry, do you have a question?
When we have a dentist and not being a dentist,
Uh-huh.
when we should fill the blank, we should use the past participle.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I would suggest this is what I would suggest for you guys, okay? This is my rule of thumb for you. When you are working with an adjective, you should use the gerund phrase, okay? Use the gerund phrases when you are working with adjectives, right? Being a flight attendant is more fun than being a farmer, okay?
Yeah.
Adjectives are gerund phrases. When you have the nouns, the verbs, and the past participles, I want you to use a dentist or the plural, okay? So singular or the plural. So doctors or a doctor, okay? So like a police officer earns more money than a taxi driver. A teacher works less hours than a businessman. Okay? So this is, I think, would be a good rule of thumb for you guys. Okay? Gerund phrases with the adjectives only, and then use the doctor or a doctor, doctors, the singular plural, with the nouns, verbs, and prepositional phrases. There are exceptions to this, but this is much more natural English than trying to use it in weird constructions. Because then you just start getting confused. You're like, that doesn't sound quite right. Okay? So use this for the quiz. All right? Lock this in. Gerunds, adjectives. Yusuf, what's the rule?
Gerunds,
Gerunds, adjectives. Good. All right. So everyone clear your desks. All books away. All books away. Have your pen or pencil out. To the last quiz, you need to put your name on the top. The first section is vocabulary. Second section is grammar. There's a part about the gerund phrases as subjects or objects. And then the last part, you have to complete using the comparisons, okay? If you have any questions, just ask me. But no, I will not give you the definition of the vocabulary words, okay? That you should have studied. Huh?
Just answer.
Yeah, I'm not going to just give you the answer. Don't be like, teacher, what do I put here? No. I'll answer questions if you're confused about a direction, all right? 15 minutes? Go.
15.
Okay. Glad you agree. Yeah, so you decide which structure.
We choose.
You choose. Yeah, so just 1 to 5. Rewrite the sentences using gerunds as subjects or objects, depending. Just there's no comparison. You're just rewriting. Yeah, for section 2, letter A, there's no comparisons in that section. It's just rewriting using the gerunds as subjects or objects. There's no comparisons. You're just rewriting the sentence.
Teacher, which one if we use it like subject or object?
So when you look at the sentence, to be a teacher sounds rewarding, look at what you think could be a gerund subject or a gerund object. This is to work. So how would you change that to be into a gerund? More than you decide what structure you use. Okay, you have about 5 minutes.
Really?
5 minutes. Finished? Okay, if you're finished, just turn the paper over so I know that you're done. Builds furniture. 1 minute. Okay. Alright, pens down, hand them in. Hand in those quizzes. Let's go, let's go. Alright, Roya, pens down. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Is your name on it? 1 point off for Hamza. 1 point off. Alright. Yes, go ahead. Did everyone else put their names on it? Yes. I can't give you your grade if the name's on it. Let's go, Miriam. I'm sure you did fine. I'm sure you did good. All right. Woo! Another quiz over. Yay! Especially since it was supposed to be last week. But it's okay. I won't give you a hard time. All right. Excellent. Everyone, breathe. No one's breathing. Thank you. All right. We are now officially moving into Unit 3. we are halfway finished, which is crazy to think about. We have only, what, 3 more weeks after this week, and then we'll be getting into the final, review and final, so we are chugging along. So here's my question. What does this mean? A friend in need is a friend indeed. Have you heard this before? Do you know what it means? No?
What does it mean?
Indeed, like for certain. It's an old phrase, an old proverb, if you will, in English. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Basically, it means a friend who helps you when you need it is a true friend. Okay, so a friend who helps you when you need it is a true friend. All right. So here's my question: should you always do what your friends ask you to? Oh, quickly, everyone's like, no. All right. If they asked you a favor and maybe it wasn't a good idea, should you still say yes? No? Do you go to the restroom? Okay.
I'm sorry, I can't.
I'm sorry, I can't. Okay. What is a favor? Favor.
To ask someone for something.
Yeah, right? You're asking for something for them to do for you or to give to you or what? Pleasure?
Something that can help.
Yeah, something that you can help you, right? So it's usually like you need something from them and you're asking them to do it for you or to give it to you, right? So we're going to look at some people who were asked about favors that they disliked, okay? So before you look at the book, everyone's jumping in. What do you think some of these favors could be? What are favors that you don't like that people ask you?
Money.
Money, right? Always money. It's like, no. I want money. All right, what else?
Replace you on work. Your phone.
Your phone? Sorry, what did you say?
Replace you on work.
Replace your own work? Oh, like to copy?
No.
No?
When someone wants to be absent
Mm-hmm.
and he asks you to replace him.
Oh.
To cover.
To cover for, that's a good, I like that. Okay, so to cover for him. To cover for somebody. All right, that's odd. Good one. Cover for somebody, money, phone, what else? Favors that you don't like it when people ask you to.
Care children.
Okay, good. Take care of the children. Can you watch my kids? No, I cannot watch your kids. Take care of children. Give me at least one more. We have 4. Give me one more. Hamza, I'm pretty sure there's things you don't like when people do.
Personal things.
Huh?
My personal things. Like.
What about your
For-
personal things? Like using your personal things?
Yes. No.
Okay. Yes, no. Yes, no. So, using personal things. Can you give me an example of something, Hamza? What's one of those things?
Like.
Okay, like your phone, laptop, camera. I know for a lot of, like, especially for sisters. Yeah, it's like, can I borrow? No. Go get your own jean. Go get your own sweater, right? All right, good. So we have cover for somebody. They ask for money, phone, take care of children, using personal things. Good. Go ahead and open your book now to page 16. And we have favors people dislike being asked. It has a little could you ... question mark. So let's see what these people said about favors they dislike being asked. Let's see. Music. What are 2 of the favors that people dislike being asked?
Buy me a cup.
Buy me a coffee.
Lend me some money.
Ah, there's that money. Lend me some money. Chifa, what are two others?
Treat me to a movie. Help me move to a new apartment.
Okay, treat me to a movie. What does treat mean again?
Treat me.
Treat
Pay
me?
for
Go to
someone
the
and
Exactly, to pay for it, right? So pay for my movie ticket. And then help me move to a new apartment. Sarah, what was the other two?
Fix my computer. Pick up some groceries.
And Roya, what was the last two?
Babysit my kids, donate to my favorite charity.
Okay, so there's like taking care of my children, right? Babysit my kids. What is the difference between lend and borrow? It says here, lend me some money.
Lend to have money, and then borrow to give money.
Okay, so we have lend and we have borrow.
Lend is to
when
have.
when someone gives you, he lends
He
you.
asks
Borrow
you.
when you
Lend.
Okay, so you're close. So to lend money is when you give the money, right? So to lend means a person gives something. So the opposite, borrow, means you take, right? You ask and take whatever that something is. The money, the phone, the car, anything like that. So a person takes something. For example, Hamza, can I borrow your book?
Yes.
Okay, so I take it. Can I borrow your paper? Yeah, yes. Can I borrow your pen? Thank you. Can I borrow your pen? Yes, I want everyone's stuff. Exactly. I'm gonna take all of it. Thank you. I'm gonna not lend, but just give these back to you. Thank you, thank you.
Can you lend me?
I'll give you, right? Yeah, I'll give it back to you, right? What are some things that you might lend to people?
Nothing.
Nothing. I love that. Nothing. What are some things that you might borrow? Borrow. Huh?
Jacket.
Jacket, right? Yeah, it's cold outside. You might borrow a jacket. Borrow someone's car. What about when you go to the library? You borrow the books, right? I was talking about this in another class. You don't rent a book from a library. You borrow, right? Because rent means that there's some money exchange. When you borrow, it usually means that there's no money. It's free, right? It's an exchange. Okay, good. So we have 8 examples here, okay, on the book. What I'd like you to do is talk to your partner about these questions under here, okay? So it says, imagine that a close friend asked you each of these favors. Which would you agree to? Okay, so this is a close friend. And then what are 3 other favors that you dislike being asked? Okay, so that one's more personal. What are 3 favors you dislike being asked? Okay, so work with your same partners from before. Miriam, if you can join in with Mary and Yusuf, okay? So which would you agree to, and what are 3 more examples of favors that you dislike being asked?
And if I have one.
Oh, on
Please one time.
لا ده مش يوم.
Yeah, take care, watch someone's children. Which one?
I'm scared.
Donate to my coverage.
No. I know that one's really difficult. If someone says, "Will you donate to a charity?" and you're like, "No, I won't donate." You know, you're just like, you have to almost. Yeah, it's like you can't say no. I love how no one wants to babysit kids. They're like, "No, I am not babysitting children." Yes, except this. No, I think almost everyone has said no. No children. And I think the lend me some money can also vary based on the amount, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and the person. Yeah. Yeah, there's some people that I'm like, yeah, go ahead, you know, like take 20B, 50B, whatever, it's fine. There's some people I'm like, never.
We say if you want to miss someone, give them money.
Right, exactly. I completely agree with that one.
I'm generous.
Look, I'm so generous. I can't help it.
Pick up some
Pick up some groceries. It doesn't, wait, real quick, I want to explain this. When someone says pick up some groceries, when someone says pick up some groceries, it does not mean physically pick up. It means go to the store and bring the groceries back. So it does not mean like take care of kids. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it does not mean to pick up like one motion. It means go to the store, shop, and help me. Exactly, help me move. Like you have to move their stuff. So you're gonna have to pack up their stuff in boxes, carry it to the car, drive to the new apartment. Hire a moving service, right? Yeah, so when they say pick up groceries, it doesn't just mean like pick up some bags, like my Asuma bag. It means go to the store and do the shopping and then bring it back. So it's a little more required than just picking up the bag. Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right, so when you've checked, make sure that you also do that second part. What are 3 more things, 3 personal things that you dislike being asked? 3 personal things you dislike being asked. I want these 3 to be something different than in the book. Okay, don't use these 8 examples. I want you to think of 3 different examples. I know you guys. I know there's a lot of things you don't want to do. So think of but I don't want to do that. So think of 3 different examples from the book for what you dislike being asked to do.
When you have 2 friends and the other 2 don't talk, but you talk to me. Yes.
Let's take my phone.
When someone asks you to
Take mine.
when someone no, it's okay. Stop talking because I don't like Because we are friends.
Mediating. I'll explain it. I'll explain it. Okay, does everyone have their 3 new ones that they thought of? Yeah? 1? Okay, so I need everyone to have at least 1 personal one for themselves. Okay? Favor that you dislike being asked. I'll leave it yours. Do you let people borrow your motorcycle? If it's a close friend. Okay. So it's not a problem? Interesting. I don't think I would. I don't like people.
Because my close friend has motorcycles.
Ah, okay, so he knows how to drive. Okay, alright, that's a good one.
Someone that's anyway. He knows to drive.
That's a big difference, yeah. What about money? How much money will you lend to a friend before it's too much?
In this one different situation, if it's a critical situation, and you have already money in the account with this person, no problem.
And you know where they live, so you can go and collect. So you can go knock on the door and say, "Where's my money?"
If you know it's in your house.
Yeah, money is a very difficult one because there's so many factors, right? Yeah.
Make a lot of problem when you lend money.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you lend money or they borrow the money and then they pay you back and then it's like, great, fine, no issue. But then you're like, hey, where I lent you, some money, where's my money?
When this person starts to hide.
Mm-hmm. You're like, hey, where'd you go? Where are you? Where's my money? Right? Exactly. All right, you guys have your additional ones? Okay, so let me hear. These are my 3 that I came up with of favors that I dislike people asking me to do. Number 1, mediating between people. Mediating, she says. What does that mean? Mediating.
And someone is.
Entremise.
So there's an actual job called a mediator, and then there's the verb mediating. So like when 2 people are, there's a conflict, right? There's a conflict between 2 people, and this happens all the time. I will have friends or family that they have a conflict, and they're like, can you go talk to her for me? And I'm like, no, I will not do it, because it pulls you into the argument, right? Then they say, oh, well, you agree with her. It's like, no, you asked me to help you. My family is very difficult. This happens a lot. Letting people use my computer. That is my baby. Do not touch it. Okay?
Me too.
I don't know. I don't like people using my computer. My phone, okay, no problem. My computer, I think it's because a lot of people my brother is very rough. He uses very hard tapping on the keys. And some people will have like dirt or food on their hands and it leaves a mess. It's just disgusting. So I don't like letting people use my computer, and I don't like shopping for groceries for my mom. My mom is very specific about what she wants from the store, and I always choose the wrong thing. So I go to the store and she's like, oh, get me this, this, and this. So I go, okay. And I go to the store and I get this, this, and this. I bring it home. That's not what I want. You did it wrong. Exactly. And I'm like, that's exactly what you said. No, it's not. And it's an argument. So
It's just the same thing, but not for my mom, my dad.
for your dad. Mm-hmm. So now if I go to the grocery store, I will actually take a picture of the items and I'll send it to her and wait for her approval on the groceries. But I just
say no.
don't like it. So I usually say no, but then she uses guilt on me, right? I am your mother. You should help me. Oh, it's the same everywhere. Mothers and guilt, right? So those are my 3 favors that I really dislike being asked. And when people ask me, I always cringe and I always think, oh, I'm sorry, but no, I'm not going to do that. So what were some of your favors that you dislike being asked? The ones that you created that were not from the book? Barry, did you have one?
Yeah. When friend asked me to stop talking with other friends.
Oh, okay. So if a friend asks you to stop talking, like if they have a disagreement or something, that one's rough. What else? What was that?
When someone asks me to hide the truth.
Good. To hide the truth, to maybe lie about something. What else? Huh?
Yes.
Oh, you're supposed
Please.
to. Salma, did you have one?
No.
No? Sorry?
When people use my phone,
When people
check
use your phone.
my pictures and WhatsApp and
Oh, yeah, that's like your personal business, right? It's like, why are you here? Yeah, nosy, right? That would annoy me too. You guys come up with one?
When someone asked me to explain to him lessons
Me too. Yeah? You're like, no, I don't want to.
and we find sometimes someone stupid. You explain more than
That was so passionate. I love it. Someone stupid. I agree. Yeah, it can be really difficult because then you're like, I am not explaining this to you anymore. I agree with you. I love that passion. Yusuf, did you have one?
The same.
Same as you?
Same.
Yeah. Miriam, did you have any others?
Well, especially my phone and computer.
Phone and computer. Mm-hmm.
when someone asks me to buy to him something
Mm-hmm.
and he is able to buy this
By
him,
By themselves.
by himself.
Yeah. It's like they have money, but they just don't want to use their own money, right? Very stingy. Stingy. Yeah. There we go. There's that word again. Hamza, did you have another one?
Yes. When my mother asked me for
Yeah.
to clean the room.
Yeah.
I'm your mother. You should help me. I know. Yeah. Always the moms, right? Yeah. I want to have children so then I can do the same to them. Continue the shame and the guilt for the children. Good. Yeah. I mean, I think everyone always has those 1 or 2 things that they just really don't like being asked to do. And usually I think it's from, bad experiences in the past. Maybe you've been asked too many times, or maybe you had a friend ask you this favor and they betrayed you or, lied to you about it. So I definitely think we all have that. All right, so I'm handing out this worksheet. It talks about lend versus borrow. We're just going to do a little extra work with this, and we're getting near the end of class, so we'll pick up with this next class as well. But there's a quote on the top of the page. Yusuf, can you read that quote for us, please? Yeah.
There are two sure ways to lose a friend. One is to borrow, the other is to lend.
There are two sure ways to lose a friend. One is to borrow, the other is to lend. It's an interesting phrase, all right? So what I'd like you to do is just look at this discussion points up here, okay? And with your partners, look at these questions. Number one, what was the last thing you lent? That you lent somebody? Who did you lend it to, and did you get it back? Okay. What was the last thing you borrowed? Who did you borrow it from? Did you return it? Okay. And do you agree with this quote up here? Okay. Okay. So talk with your partner. Okay. So talk to your partner and see if you guys can answer these. I mean, these are personal questions. So number 3 is more of the discussion with your partner. Okay. So number 1 and 2 is you personally. Last thing you lent, last thing you borrowed. And then number 3 is the quote discussion. No. Don't write anything. Don't write anything. You're just discussing. Just speaking. Just discussion. That's a 16 out of 16. I had to change the number. It's just your Othello summary.
I lost my book next time.
I know, you said, I couldn't find it, and there was no extras, so I'm not sure where it went. Perfume. The way you said it is more French pronunciation. English would say perfume. Question? Question? Okay. Yes. Quote. Yeah, quote means it's something said by a person, right? So like when they say quote, yeah, up here. Patrick Rothfuss, I think his name is Rothfuss. So quote, when they say something famous, like a recognizable saying. Okay, so we are almost out of time. I have like 2 minutes. No. Alright. So we're almost out of time. So before the bell rings, we are going to start with this as our warm-up next class. So please bring this paper back with you next class, okay? Because we're going to use it. And if you have not turned in an Othello summary to me, please bring it to next class, Okay, so I returned quite a few tonight, but some of the fellas, alright, I need the fellow summaries. Because remember, we have 4 due total, okay? So we have finished Act 1 and Act 2. So if you want to start on your second summary, that's a good idea, okay?
Second
scene,
what's
You can choose a scene from Act 2. So
Act 2?
yeah, so remember, for the scene, you choose the scenes that you want to choose. So you can do Act 1, Scene 1, Scene 2, Scene 3, that's fine. Or you can choose from Act 2 right now, that's fine too. Alright, have a good evening and I will see you on Thursday. Friday. What day is it? It's Wednesday. Friday. I'll see you on Friday.